Should you learn Daifukkatsu Black Label? This is the mode that takes the original game and adds the rank meter. This rank meter means that we could cancel even more bullets than before, and we could build tons of hypers and stash them. The problem? As this rank meter increases, we have to fight denser and denser bullet patterns, to the point where they get to second loop levels. So it might seem like that this is a mode only for score players, but you'll find that we can take this rank system for survival and use it as a weapon against the game. So I'm going to show you a route that's consistent enough to get through the game while taking as little risk as possible, managing this little rank bar, enough to where we'll be able to reach Hibachi and kill it. Here's how Black Label works. Holding shot plus laser gives you this powerful combination. Enemies you kill while doing this will cancel their bullets. However, the rank bar will rise. The higher the rank, the more bullets you're gonna see. You can lower this rank by switching to just shot. We'll go over more ways to lower it as we get into the run. We're picking the B ship because it works really well with this combination laser and shot. Bomb and power style are the normal modes, while strong style will give you the expert difficulty. We're gonna play bomb style with auto bombs off. If we have auto bombs off, then our bombs can now be repurposed as hypers. That's going to be extremely core to this run. I learned this game through Fuku-chan's replay. I'll put that one in the description. I also stream this run live, so if you want to see that without any editing, it'll be down there too. Alright, let's start the run. We're going to be wanting to use shot as much as possible so that we don't increase our rank at all, and then once we get to the big enemies, we'll have rank to afford to kill them with both the shot and the laser. Like, see these two boats? We can afford to use our shot and laser, and we're using our shot so much that by the time we'll need it again, our rank's plummeted. Make sure you pick up this B here that I missed. And we're just arranging ourselves based off these mid-sized enemies. Get ready for these tanks. We're getting ready on the left, right, and the left to hold our laser and shot on them as they come in, so we have to dodge as little as possible. Don't worry about the Bs. You have enough time to pick them up after the tanks are dead. Now, you can get a different route, either the Ura or the normal route, based on how you kill these tanks, but in Black Label, it's pretty involved, so don't worry about it. We want the normal route. We're not going to get the Ura one just yet. Now, before the mid-boss, we want to reduce our rank as much as possible. Just keep making sure to use shot, and by the time the mid-boss comes in, we'll be at a low rank. Now we can hold shot and laser, and the rank increase won't matter. We have enough to burst this boss down really fast. Just hold in the middle here, and you can dodge everything fine. We want to make our way to the right, get ready for the enemies on the left, then you can move there, pick up the B. You don't need to memorize where exactly all of these Zakos are. This game floods them everywhere, but you want to make sure that you want to know where all of these Bs are and where all of the mid-sized enemies are. As long as you could do that, the Zako waves will naturally push you to where those are, and you'll manage to clear them out while making your way to burst down the big enemies. That way you don't have to memorize everything. On this first boss, we enter it with really low rank, which is going to be nice for this first pattern. And then we can hold shot and laser because the later patterns aren't very hard when we reach higher red rank. We want to hold it and just keep tapping to the side. It makes it easy to get through this first section. Now our rank's rising, but this pattern right here is really easy regardless of the rank. Now we need to do some tap dodging for about 3 waves here. Just tap slowly and you're completely fine to dodge both the pink and the blue. Get up to about mid-screen here, and you have enough speed to get through these. If you don't have enough speed to make your way through the blue bullets, you want to just hold your laser and then go back to holding laser and shot. You have more speed when you're just holding normal laser. And by this time, the boss should be pretty much dead. Now, if you notice here, look at this rank bar. You see how it's flashing and it's completely full? If you are trying to reach Hibachi, we need to kill every single one of these end-of-stage bosses with the red rank completely maxed. And you'll know you got it for sure because this whole bar is flashing, including like the silver bits. We need to kill every single stage boss like that. If you do not want to see Taisabachi or Hibachi, what you want to do is you don't want to kill it at max red rank. You could do that by either bombing, and the bombing will drain everything, or if you use a hyper and cancel out of the hyper, you'll lose half of your rank. It'll guarantee that you don't see this red. Let's talk about the Bs real quick. We made sure to pick them all up on stage 1. It didn't matter how we picked them up, but it's going to matter later. If you pick them up while they're orange, you get a bullet cancel. If you pick them up while they're green, then you'll get some hypermeter. If you pick them up while they're in the in-between state, while it's flashing between orange and green, then you'll get both benefits at once. It'll vary which one we want, but for the most part, we want the hypermeter, either when it's flashing white or when it's green. And the Bs become really important. See, we had the normal mid-boss for this one. We actually want the normal mid-bosses for stage 1 through 4, but we want the mid-bosses on stage 5 because they're both easier and they have more bees there that we could pick up while they're green to give us some more hyper. So in order to have normal route for stages 1 to 4 and then get the for stage 5, what we have to do is we have to get 2 perfect bee stages, and then the next stage we'll have the route. So stage 1 we got a perfect by picking up all the bees. Stage 2 and 3 we want to pick up all of the bees except for 1 to make sure we keep being on the normal route. And then in stage 4 we'll pick up all the bees so that we officially enter the route for stage 5. Because we end each of the bosses at max red rank, that's going to make the start of each stage hard, so we need to make sure to pre-position and use our shot to lower that as fast as possible. We're going to start on the bottom right here, wait for the enemies, and scoot over to the left. We just have to survive for a little while, and then our ranks plummet now. Now by the time we reach this enemy here, the rank's completely down. You can use your shot and laser and kill it, and it's fine. Stay here. We want to wait here and then stream all these enemies in one go. We're now getting these enemies. If you use your shot and laser, you cancel all their purple shots. They're not a threat at all. And we can afford the rank loss because of it. Now these enemies, we want to use our shot. And then once it's about dead, then you use your shot and laser. So we get the cancel on all of its bullets without the rank increase from holding it the whole time. This next one, we want to start in the middle and then stream to the right. Because the next section, we need to go to the right. And we don't want these tanks to get in the way since we're only canceling the bullets from this big enemy. Now we sit here, we don't need to cancel these ones. We want our rank to be low for this boss. Now hold your shot and laser the whole time, just stream in one direction, and once you reach these next blue bullets, we'll stream the other way and you're completely fine. This boss is easy, which is why we want the normal route. Now our rank's high, so position on the right, slowly stream, slowly stream. Once you see this gap here, now you're perfectly fine. We're gonna start swinging around to kill all these Zakos. Now the next section has a huge amount of enemies. We got turrets that shoot lasers that you have to cancel out with your own laser. We're going to have more of those purple enemies streaming in. We got Zako tanks everywhere. We got big tanks. We have a lot of bees. This section seems like a clusterfuck at first, but there's kind of an order of operations to make it easier. You kill like the massive big tanks, you kill the laser turrets, and then you kill the purple enemies. Let's see here. So there's a laser up here, so we focus on that. Now that that's dead, you can use your shot and laser, cancel all these bullets. We're focused on the laser turrets. Now we focus on these guys. We got big tank up here, so just focus on that. We want to pick up the bee there and the bee there. There's no more big purple enemies, so we scoot around over to the big tanks. I actually go to the right here. You kind of want to stay on the left and kill the 2 laser turrets and make your way to the right. I went here early, which just means we have to dodge a tiny bit. Focus on everything. Now we kill the big tank. There's 3 bees in each of these circles here that you want to reveal. And something really important that we need to do. You see how our hyper bar at the top left, how that's maxed out? If we stop shooting or stop lasering on the enemies, that's going to slowly lower over time. We need that to be consistently maxed out for this section. So hold your laser here. Just keep holding it so that it's constantly flashing. We're going to pick up this bee, not when it's orange, but when it's either flashing or green. Right before we go to pick it up, we want to pop hyper and then grab it. If our hyper bar on the top left is not maxed out and we use a hyper, it's going to use one of our bombs instead, while the hyper bar is still just about max. So whenever we pick up this green bee here, instead of giving us a big stimulus of hyper meter, it's just going to feel like a pixel that's missing from the hyper bar. So you want to make sure you're holding laser before you pick up that bee. That way, as soon as you hyper, it uses that full hyper bar. You're still maxed out on bomb, and then we'll get the green meter for this next upcoming hyper. Now, ideally, you pick up that second bee as it's green, but it doesn't really matter too much. You see this bomb here. You see how we're maxed out on bombs? Look at the bottom there. Once we pick up that bomb while we have a maximum, we get this ×2 here. That's extremely important. Look at our bomb bar at the start of the game. You see here how we have 3 stocks of bombs? We can increase that to 6, and in order to do that, we have to pick up a bomb item while we're currently at maximum. By picking up the bees correctly so that we have the maximum bonus here, we can now pick it up. We get that ×2 bonus. We now have a stock of 4 bombs. We want to increase that to 6 before stage 5 so that every one of our lives we have 6 hypers that we could stash up. Also, something important for this boss. We always want to hyper at this exact timing. We could get a ton of point-blank damage on the boss immediately with our hyper we already popped. Plus, after the hyper's finished, you still have some invulnerability, so we get point-blank damage in there. We get some invulnerability. Now we only have to dodge this pattern for like 2 waves. There's going to be like a little pause here, you see. That's our motion that we need to start streaming the other way for a couple. Now we have to go the other way. You see this pause here? We have to go for 3. 1, 2, 3. Now we need to get ready in the middle. We're going to use our next hyper to hyper invuln our way through these. And by that time, it should be dead. We need to cancel our hyper. This boss is a little weird in getting the maximum red bonus. If you don't care about fighting the TLBs, you could just keep holding your hyper, keep damaging the boss, and you're fine. For us, we want to cancel it immediately so our rank is still somewhat high. This pattern's pretty hard, so we're just going to survive for as long as we can. Then hyper. And we want to cancel our hyper manually immediately. Every single time you cancel your hyper, look up at our rank bar. It drops by half. That's usually great for survival, but because we need the red bonus to kill the boss to meet the requirement, we want we want to get our hyper out of the way as fast as possible. So we cancel that immediately. I'm not going to damage the boss by moving off to the side. That way I'm building red. You see, the boss really doesn't have that much health left. In order to give us some leeway, in order to not kill it too early, I'm moving off to the side, and then we can go in and kill the boss. You have a lot of time here, and these patterns aren't hard. Like this one you just streamed, so you have a lot of time to look at both the boss health bar and your red meter to determine like how your damage is going. And you want to try to kill it before the next pattern. The next pattern gets hard, but it's not too difficult to time. That's how we'll kill the second boss at full red rank. Stage 3 is a lot more intensive on the routing, so I'm going to go into it a lot more. Now our red rank is maxed out, so we want to hug the bottom right here. We're going to slowly stream until we get rid of all these flying enemies. Then we want to get ready to speed kill all these. We move in like a question mark like motion, and then they don't shoot as much. When you get to these last enemies here, you can kill them with their shot and laser. That way you get rid of their bullets, and now we have a clean lane here to stream to the right. We're going to kill these here. We're going to have helicopters from the top right and 2 turrets on both sides, so we want to flick our shot to the right to kill those, and we want to use our shot and laser to kill both of these. In my run, I did this kind of uncleanly, so afterwards I'm going to show you the route that makes it a lot more easier. Let me show you a cleaner run I had through this section. As soon as we kill these enemies, you swing your shot to the right to kill some of the helicopters so you have room to laser both of these, kill them, and by doing that, you're revealing both of these bees naturally that you can pick up. If you pick them up while they're like orange or flashing, it gives you room to make this section easier. Use your laser here, or like just try not to build as much rank, and for these big laser turrets you want to use your shot on, so you're ready for this section with lower rank. This turret wall is kind of an asshole. I'm going to show you what it looks like. I'll show you the best things you want to get rid of to make it easier. You see, we got middle turrets, we got side turrets, we got other side turrets, and then we got these 2 big ships coming in, and we got to get rid of all of them. Here's what we want to do. The most annoying turrets here are these purple shots on the sides. You see these glowing red turrets that shoot these circular pink shots? Those ones are the most annoying. So we're going to use our shot for most of this. And then we want to get rid of those pink turrets as best we can with our shot and laser, so our rank's not too high by the time these ships come in. Once these ships come in, you need to hold on to them. They have 2 phases. You see here we killed the first phase. Now we have the second one we need to kill. Keep holding there. You don't want to move off it before killing it. Then you stream to the right. It's going to naturally kill these 2 turrets in the middle. You see here we got these 2 turrets in the back that are shooting out. Just by holding right, you naturally kill those. Now you're in a position to kill the other ship. And you're good. Now we're going to have a bunch of Zakos flooding in. We just want to stream them and make our way to the left. And then we make our way back to the right for the next big turret section. This one here, all we have to do is once this begins and all the Zakos are out, we just use our shot and laser together. Speed kill that down. Now we just want to swing by, kill all the turrets, all the random Zakos, so that all that's remaining is this big blue ship. Now, we want to kill that with normal laser because we don't want our rank to be high for the following section, since the following section gets pretty spooky without it. There's a bee right under where this big laser is. That's the bee we're going to skip because that one's kind of hard to get. We're skipping that bee. We're slowly streaming to the right here. We're snagging this one. As soon as you reveal a bee, it'll start out as orange. So if you reveal it and then immediately pick it up, you get a bullet cancel, so you get some leeway. Here we have to do a long stream of these guys. We got these for a long time, so we're slowly streaming. And once we're about at the halfway point here, we need to make a long movement to bait their bullets in a different direction. We're misdirecting those so that we can get back to the other side. That way we have room to deal with this big one. We can deal with this big ship by either, if we're comfy down here, lasering it. Wow, we didn't even kill it with the cancel. You want to make sure if you cancel all of its shots that you're paying attention to the little tanks on the bottom, because those tanks won't have their bullets canceled. So you just focus on that and ignore all the shots this is taking. Another approach, if you want, if you don't feel like you can kill it in time, is you can just macro around and move on the top right of the screen. All right, we're coming up to this boss. You see our resources, how we have absolutely maxed resource, both our bomb count and our hyper meter. If we have that, then we have enough leeway that we can just burst this boss down. We just hold hyper and we just kill it. If you do not have maxed resources and you want to get the extra bomb stock at the end of the stage, then you just dodge it and kill it normally. It's pretty easy except for the dual twin bullets. These twin blue bullets are an absolute asshole. I just only focus on those and then just react to the other bullets. After it's dead, we could just cancel everything in hyper. Once the hyper's done, we're going to decide to stream all these in one direction. We'll know when this section is done. As soon as you see this arrow up top here at the very middle, that's kind of your signal that we're getting to the next section. We're streaming all these up. Now we got another turret wall. This big structure here, we need to use our shot and laser to kill it so that we cancel all of its bullets. But we also don't want to raise the rank too high because the next section's pretty hard. So we want to have a balance between bursting down all the turrets while keeping our rank low. We're using normal laser, using our shot a lot. Once we get it so it's just the big building in the middle, then we could use our shot and laser and look, our rank's completely fine. We're ready for the next section. We want to make our way to the right because there's a bee on the right that as soon as we kill it, the bee will be unveiled. Now, we have a lot of stuff going on here. We have Zakos, we have the big ships, and we have turrets on the sides. The real killer are the stuff on the sides. So what we want to do is you want to orient where you want to be based on whichever side the big ships are on. And every time you swing over to a side, you want to kill these turrets. If you kill those turrets, these red bullets stop becoming an issue. And the actual tank and Zako shots aren't too much of a problem because they're aimed. So you could just naturally avoid them as you scoot around. But make sure you're focused on the big ships and making sure that the side turrets are dead as you go across. Here's the secret extend. This is one of the most straightforward ones to get. Just don't bomb it. That's it. We can even hyper it, and we are going to hyper it. So we're hypering here because the section's kind of hard to survive on. And we'll use the hyper in the next section. And bam, that's how you get the secret one-up. It's quite easy. Now we're going to do our best to kill everything with our hyper. Now, this section's easy to live in, except there's 2 Bs we want to get. I'm going to show you here. So we have more ships and more other bullshit. But there's 2 Bs here we want to reveal. So we want to be kind of in the middle until we reveal those Bs. And then we can move off to the side to kind of dodge everything. Ideally, depending on our resources, if we need hyper, see right here, we don't have max bombs. So even if we pick up this bomb item, we're not going to get the maximum bomb stock, so we won't reach 5 bombs. These Bs are how we'll deal with that. We're waiting for the green. If we reveal them early, they'll flash just in time. If you pick up one as they're flashing, then all the bullets will disappear and you're fine to just swing into the other B. And now as we pick up this bomb, bam, ×2. Now we have 5 bombs stocked. Now we just need one more, and we have maximum bombs and hypers for each one of our lives. Here's how we deal with the stage 3 boss. So we're coming in with not too much rank, but it doesn't matter. We're just going to hold laser and hyper the whole time. We just have to tap dodge through these. Just tap and you're completely fine. Dodge through these. They're even fine to dodge on higher rank. Just keep doing that. You see here we have another wave. As soon as this wave is done, even if these blue bullets aren't going to hit you, we're always going to time a hyper here. We time the hyper, and these bullets will disappear. Now, something that'll start becoming a thing later in this run is every time you use a hyper, you build up hyper rank. It's different from this red rank bar at the top right. Every time you use a hyper, you increase your hyper rank by 1, up to a max of 5, and that resets at the start of every single stage. The more hyper rank you have, the less invuln you have when you pop hyper initially, and the harder it is to clear out bullets and cancel them using your hyper. So these bullets here, we're at a hyper rank where it's fine to cancel most of them. Like all of these, we could just keep holding it. But these next bullets here will scoot on through us, so we can't just keep holding hyper, we'll get hit. So as soon as you see these long pink bullets, that's when you cancel your hyper, and we have enough damage at that point that we're good. I'm going to move up to here. All you have to do to dodge this pattern is slowly tap, but if we stay up here a little bit, the boss will swoop down and we'll get a tiny bit of point blank damage. So you just start here, start at like the top third, and you won't run into the boss. You sneak in a little point blank there. We need to stream to the side for 3 of these, and then we use our hyper to invuln through that. Now, we're going to point blank the boss and this laser doll on the side. That's going to not only build us a ton of meter, but it's doing a shit ton of damage. Look at the boss health bar. We do so much, and we don't have to worry about getting hit by these shots because our hyper at this timing is naturally going to cancel these initial bullets. Then it either dies right away if your damage is good, or you just hold down and it dies immediately. Now this last pattern, if you find that you need more hyper, you can move up to the top right, and the side here, don't move up too high, you'll like run into the boss and die. That's a big issue with a lot of these bosses, is ramming into them. But you can kind of get aggressive. I didn't need to build that much hyper here, so I wasn't like trying to hug this turret up here. But if you find you're running out of resources, you could spend there. And because we're already at max red rank, the higher your red is, the more meter you're building. Once you hit where it says red here, you see this little notch in the middle of the bar. As soon as it passes that and the red's flashing, you're building way more hyper gauge. So we take advantage of the fact that to build a bunch of hyper. Now here, we slowly tap. In order to have the correct timing, how do you orient yourself? You're trying to you're just looking at the blue bullets. You're just making sure you're slightly ahead of the blue bullets. As long as you do that, you won't be too fast and run into these pink ones. Now, as soon as that stops, just stay still. We're not doing any damage to the boss, but we are building a little bit of passive score, and we're building some hyper. Now, once it starts again, keep tapping, and the boss should go down. There's tricks to build more score and more hyper by veering off to the side, but I find that we just want to make sure the boss dies, because the next pattern after that is quite hard to survive on. And this boss is really trivial to get red rank on, since we're pretty much red for the entire boss. So now we'll go into stage 4 with maxed resources. We have 5 total bombs in stock. We just need to build 1 more stock and we'll be set for the final stage. Let's talk scoring extends real quick. You see our score there, we're at 97. We need that to hit 500 in order to get the last scoring extend, which sounds like it'll be an ordeal since we've waited really long to do any scoring, except this next stage is both advantageous for both scoring and survival to do most of the stage in maxed red rank. And I'll show you why it's easier there. Let's get into it. Once again, we're at max red rank. We start on the bottom right. And we're going to scoot over to the left. We don't want to go all the way to the right here. You see these tanks coming up here. We want to start in the middle and slowly clear those out. And then we can scoot over to the left. You see there's a B here. We can either pick up that now as these helicopters are coming in, or we can wait till after we kill these laser turrets. You can scoot over here to the side, use your shot, kill those 3 laser turrets with your shot. They're baited the other way, and then kill these other 3. Or you could kill them how I did here. That's fine. Now for this section. This section's a little weird. Here's how you make it easier. We start on the left. We kill the Zakos flying in. We scoot over to the right for this first tank. We're going to laser that tank down so we cancel all of its bullets. Now we need to scoot over to the next tank. We're going to be in between, in the middle here. That way, we're getting a 1, 2, and a 3 tanks. We're waiting for those 3 tanks to die. So we scoot to the side, kill this tank. Scoot over here, hold laser. Because we're on the B ship, as we scoot over to the left, we kill all the tanks naturally with our shots, so we don't have to worry about those. We just focus on the big tanks with their shot and laser, and the big tanks will lose all their shots as we cancel their bullets. Be ready as you kill this big laser tower here. For all these Zako shots, our rank is high, so we don't want to run into those tanks. We're only canceling the bullets from the tower. Now we get these big ones. The higher your rank is, the easier these are because you get more slowdown, even though there's a lot more bullets going on. Sit in the middle in between there. You kill all of these before their bullets can shoot. It's really safe. Now we want to make sure to kill this one. Now we're at maxed red rank. It's shooting a lot more. It's really easy to dodge. You just sit in a lane, and you're really only dodging like 1 or 2 blue bullets, and you're fine. Now we're getting ready for here. We want to kill maybe like 2 waves of these. And as soon as things get crazier by like 3rd wave, we got hyper. You got hyper earlier if you want. Just to make sure you don't die. That's just a decent timing to do it. We're completely invincible because our hyper rank's down. And we could just laser through everything. By the time our hyper's out, there's no Zakos we have to clear out. There's just these mid-size that get their bullets canceled. And we're ready for the mid-boss here. We want to get up to the top of the screen. We're still on the normal route. This mid-boss's first pattern is mad easy, but its last pattern is really hard. So we're going to point blank at the start here with our shot and laser. Don't worry about our rank. It's completely fine. Now, you see, these bullets are going to alternate from both of its arms. And then we're getting these aim shots at us. What we want to do is after we point blank, we're just going to hold down and dodge these as these side turrets pop out. We're gonna see whichever arm is shooting, and then you just tap dodge to the other side and keep alternating. Once it's completely done, depending on your damage, I saw that I felt like I needed more point blank damage, so I scooted up to the top. Tried to get a little bit in so we didn't see any of that pattern. Now here, I'm holding auto while also tapping the shot. That way I consistently stay in red. You can do this section by just completely holding shot, and you'll build less score, but it's completely fine. You'll find that we get a shit ton of score in this game. So if this section is a bit scary to get to the next one, just hold your shot there and your rank will go down. Otherwise, if you want to stay red, you just keep tapping shot. Now we want to position ourselves to the right. You see we're getting these starting from the right, going to the left. We want to stream those that way, and we want to be a little bit high on the screen because once these helicopters go in, we'll move down. We have the room to move down and to the right in order to get rid of those. There's two ways to do this part. Either we get rid of all the laser turrets, we kill all of these tanks with their shot and laser, and then we start at the top here so that when these helicopters come in, we could stream downwards and then we can easily sweep everything else to the left. Unfortunately, I mispositioned, so we took a death there. That's going to drop our red rank down, so we're not building like as much score, but that's not such a big deal. It is a huge fucking deal for meeting the fucking Hibachi requirements. Good God. This means we have to do the entire next stage without dying. But more importantly, we have to do the next stage's final boss while having the correct amount of resources, and I'm going to go into that later. That's a whole doozy. It's very doable. In all my Hibachi clear runs, we killed it without needing full lives for the 1-5 boss, but it's definitely something that makes it harder. When we get to the elevator, we have a bunch of enemies to stream. We want to be holding auto and tapping our shot, so we're holding our red rank. I'll show you how it looks more clean here when you're actually didn't take a death there. Right here's a good spot to hyper. There's like a couple hard sections up ahead, and hyper just trivializes it. We want to stay in the middle. Line yourself up with this B. This is where all the enemies are. Don't worry about the big tower on the left. You want to kill all these tanks first. Those are the big problem. Now, here's that section without fucking up. So we're doing the same strat. We give some room upwards so we can move down so that these Zakos here get shot behind us. Now we're going to go after this wave here to the top left, and you're holding shot while constantly tapping. So that way you keep your red rank. You use the B here to cancel to give yourself some leeway. And you really do want to use a hyper here just for safety. If you don't want to use a hyper, these tanks have a fixed angle. See, they either shoot these shots to our left or they shoot like ahead of us. You can abuse that fixed angle and then sit to where this hyper is to make sure you don't get walled off to the side. Now we're getting a big stimulus and hyper meter because on the right here, you see this rock. You reveal that we got 3 Bs. What you could do if you want the maximum amount of hyper gauge is you pick up one of them while it's green, you hyper, and then you pick up the other 2. That fills you up on half of a hyper if you needed, and the next 2 Bs will build you a complete hyper. This is huge, 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 huge for building our gauge so that we could build the last 6 bomb stock for the end of the stage. We're hyper here, so we're fine. Just keep holding your shot and laser, and you'll kill all those just fine. These towers look scary. They can't actually reach you in time. Kill the enemies in the middle. We got one more of these planes, but nothing else is shooting. It's just like before, and because we're at high rank, we have such slowdown. That's fine. Scoot to the right and then the left. Our shot that kind of rotates will kill those tanks, and we're fine. Just one more set of laser towers, and we're good. Keep holding your laser and shot. So you get on here. That'll keep your red going and keep your combo going if you care about that. This boss is not bad at all, but it's going to take a little bit to learn. You're going to have to mess with them a lot in order to make sure things go smoothly. Look here, they're on this rocket. This rocket has a bunch of pieces. You see, we're first killing the left side, the right side. Now we got these 2 rockets in the middle. You see these 2 here? We want to kill just one of them, so we're swapping to normal laser so we don't damage both of them. After this one pops out, we want to make sure we absolutely do not kill this one. We need this one alive. We're focused on the last middle rocket. Now that all of those are dead, this rocket's going to flood off screen, and that's the only thing shooting. So you're just watching that to make sure you dodge it. As soon as we reach up to the boss, we've popped hyper, and we're trying to point blank it. We leave this last rocket alive because the boss is kind of waiting for this phase to end. Once it sees all of its rockets are dead or off screen, then it'll move on to the next one. Because that rocket was alive, we got all this point blank damage while the boss was doing nothing. Now we want to get to the bottom of the screen. This is low-key one of the meanest streams in the game. It doesn't look too bad, but if you stream slowly like we might have been doing before, you actually run out of room. You don't outpace these spreads. So you want to make sure as you're streaming these that you stream up to the next wall and you do not tap slowly. So look here at this first stream. We're trying to hug the very edge of this lane so that we build enough room later on in the lane. That's how you get through that fine. If the boss is still alive, this is easy. It just comes down to you and you point blank it and it dies. Next section, don't ram into the boss. It's really easy to like be looking at the top boss. You get rammed by her below. We're going to hug one side where we want to bait this big option thing here. It's going to spawn a shit ton of bullets. We bait it off screen and then move to the other side. Now the boss, I don't know how to manipulate it to get to the side that you want, but it doesn't matter. We kill it regardless of either side. You want to not be holding your shot and laser during this whole time. We want our rank to be low so that this dodge is as easy as possible. You see as we are on the left side, we hugged far into the left. This way, when the option tracks us again, we can easily make it shoot off screen. When it's off screen, all it does is shoot these laser balls, which don't do anything because we're holding laser to counter them. If you keep it on screen, it shoots a bunch of bullets at you. It's mad hard to dodge. As soon as the boss combines back with it, we're going to pop laser and sit here in between these satellites. We're doing as much point blank damage as possible. If we don't kill it immediately, we can sneak through these two satellites and we have more than enough time to point blank the boss. Now this last section here, we have to stream these aim shots while making sure we don't run into these spreads. Here's how you get enough damage because we're now in a damage race for this section. We want to be in the middle where we can barely hit the boss with our laser and then tap to the next side that she's about to go to. So she's on the left side. We can still meet her with our laser. We go to the right side. We still can kind of hit her here, and then we go to the left where she's about to go. That's how you maximize how much laser you're holding on her. After 3 times, you need to rush her down, get to the top of her. These balls here, these transparent ones, have really, really tiny-ass hitboxes, so you can sneak through them even more aggressively than I did here. We want point-blank damage the boss as much as possible. As these pink bullets come out, we have a conundrum. We have to use a resource because this shit is hard to dodge. But if we use a bomb here, whenever you use a bomb, your red rank gets maxed out immediately, which is sweet. We want our red rank to be maxed out. But look at the bomb particle effects. You see how we kind of have these effects coming out and then back into the bomb? As the effects go back into the bomb, as soon as that happens, it will now plummet your rank to 0. Which means if you bomb here and you didn't do enough damage and at the very last second you kill the boss as that happens, your rank drops to 0. You now no longer can meet Hibachi. So here's what we do to guarantee it no matter what. Even though using a hyper and getting out of the hyper will drop our rank by half, that only happens when we leave hyper. So we're going to bomb here, point blank the boss as much as possible. As these particles are about to return to the boss, we're going to pop hyper. The invuln is enough that we can get the point blank damage in to kill it. The hyper overwrites the bomb. Even if the bomb finishes, our red rank will still be maxed. The only issue, which is why we're kind of delaying here as much as possible before we bomb, is because our hyper rank is maxed out at this point. We used a bunch of hypers. Our hyper is easily at max. So our hyper invuln is really low. That's why we're delaying here as long as possible. So I wait for these pink bullets, then bomb, then try to point blank the boss, and then when these particles come in, that's about when the boss is dead. Pop hyper for safety, and that's how you hold your red rank there. Now for the Hibachi requirements, you can only bomb twice. Luckily, we don't have auto bombs, so we won't accidentally use one. But we're going to use one bomb to just absolutely guarantee that we get the red rank on that boss. And then we're going to use our next bomb on the final boss in order to guarantee that we hit red rank on that. Because that one's fucking psycho to get the red rank on. Stage 5 is legendary. You probably know about this stage if you clicked on this video. You know about the laser wheels. They make like t-shirts about this stage and shit. This is what everybody's scared of. Luckily, the laser wheels are actually not bad at all. The actual killer of this stage is how goddamn long it is. Holy shit, this stage is long. And it's a battle of attrition between our resource count and being able to meet the requirements of the last boss. I'm going through this route assuming that I'll have enough hypers to deal with both the stage and the boss up ahead while still meeting the Hibachi requirements. If you are just going for that one-all, you don't care about the TLBs, you can use this route to kind of orient yourself on how you can survive through the stages. And any part that you can't do, just pop a hyper or pop a full bomb. Just don't even sweat it. You have a bunch of resources. Since we can only die, we can't die twice. But if you're just going for the 1cc, then you have lives to spare, and we've built up all of these bomb stocks for you to use. So don't even hesitate if you're in any danger. Full bomb or use your hypers. All right, let's get into it. Because we use hyper at the end of that last boss, we come in with a hyper, making the start of this section a bit easier. And what's extra nice is that our hyper rank resets at the end of the stage, not counting this hyper. This hyper counts as one used in the last stage. So this one won't go into our hyper rank, so we're starting at 0. But don't worry, we're going to race that hyper rank really fucking fast. All right, so this hyper runs out. Starting section's a bit weird. Look at it here. We have these laser turrets on the sides. We have this big tank here, and then we have a bunch of mid and tiny tanks on the right here. Here's what we want to do. We want to use our laser and shot, clear out this right side immediately before this big tank comes out. We want to get in the middle or the left of this big tank and kill it. That way, all of these bullets from these Zakos get baited to the left side, and we have room to move to the right. We're holding normal laser so our rank doesn't go up. We're trying to kill this laser turret here. We're point blanking it so we have enough damage. If your rank is not too high, you can use your shot laser for a little bit too to adjust your damage. We're trying to kill that before these bullets reach us. Now here, you don't have to route too tightly. Just survive as long as you can and then use your hyper. We want to hyper for the next section. We last a pretty long time. Then we hyper here. We're perfectly fine. We can speed kill this tank here. We're trying to point blank these, get a little bit of hyper meter, get as much as we can. This entire stage is a war of attrition between the length of the stage and your hyper meter. Now, if you remember at the start of this whole guide, I talked about a B that we missed. If you want to get into the Ura route for this stage, you need to get 2 perfect B stages, which is why we got perfect B stage on stage 1. We skipped 2 and 3 so that we would keep being on the normal route, and then we get a perfect B stage on stage 4. Unfortunately, I fucking missed the Bs. I missed the Bs in stage 1. So now we got this boss. So first off, I'm going to show you this boss. This is me doing it blind, by the way. In my best run of this game, I got the wrong fucking route, and we had to do this blind. I was just dodging and hoping, and then we'll just pop a hyper when I felt like I was in danger. It's actually not that bad, but it's way more scary than the Ura boss. I ended up only needing 1 hyper here, but so like if you're trying to like get through this stage and you get the wrong route, it's not the end of the world, especially if you're not trying to meet Hibachi. And we're also going to this section here. We got a big rush of these enemies chasing us, and then ones in the middle shooting aim. We basically, you survive as long as you can. You're not going to be able to do this whole section without hypering at some point. You hyper and then you ride out the hyper. Try to last until this whole section ends. Now the real issue with why we especially don't want the normal bosses and not the Ura ones is on the sides here, both the left and right side of the screen are 2 Bs, which is 2 green Bs, which is like a full hyper sort of. That's a lot. That's like a whole hyper use that we missed out on. So if you've actually done things correctly and you got the Ura route like we planned, here's what the mid-boss section kind of looks like. So here's right after the laser section. And you'll know you got the right boss because this section here is a bit different. You just use your shot and laser on these mid enemies and anything they shoot's fine. Even if they get kind of ahead of you, you're good. You see this kind of particle effect here? That's like the Ura syndicator. Now, here is what we want to do. We don't want to point blank the boss any. We want this boss to last as long as possible. We're in this long elevator here, and we don't want to kill it too fast because the elevator section's really hard. Here's all you do. This is the streaming boss. Hold your shot and laser, and we just stream. Next section looks scary, but secretly, it's just another streaming section. Just stream slow, and you're fine. Everything gets through there fine. We do need a hyper for this section, though. Right as these blue bullets start to become a problem, pop hyper. I would use your shot. Don't use your shot laser. That's somewhere where I died before. See, ooh, in fact, that's exactly where I died before. Now, I don't know exactly how long you can keep this alive, but I found out before doing runs that if we wait to kill it, we get through a lot of this elevator and kill time, so that this section here we don't have to deal with for as long as possible. You see these two Bs on the sides here? You want to reveal those like picking up the other one like I accidentally did, and then you can pick up both of them while they're green. That's like a bonus of like that Ura mid boss is easier, and we get like a full extra hyper that we otherwise wouldn't have. Alright, past those 2 points, the routes converge and they'll be exactly the same. So here's what we want to do. We want to get rid of all these Zakos. After we kill these ones on the right, you're going to see we have these spinning enemies on the left. We're going to position in between this building and the spinning enemies. That way we cancel both the building and those spinning ones and kill them before their bullets can reach us. It's so fucking important to try to get every single green bee you can. Resources are precious. We use so many hypers, and we need a ton of hypers for the last boss. So try and make sure to pick up this bee after you... To make like this section's kind of scary because you got a lot of stuff going on here. If you're playing aggressive, you manage to kill this tower before it shoots, and you're in a position to kill these tanks. It makes picking up that bee easier. Now we're going to hug the right side. What we're going to do a lot in this stage is hugging the side that the screen is currently scrolling to, so every enemy on here gets immediately killed. We're perfectly fine here. We're going to reveal a bee. You can either sneak through here, try to pick it up while it's green, or you could wait and go the other way. This section's kind of hairy. You don't really care about all these wheels, what they're doing. You're just focused on these tanks. Try killing the ones on the right so that you have room to move off to the left, and then you can sneak through here. You want to be careful. These blue bullets come out fast, so as soon as this building comes out, be ready to move. We want to start on the right to kill these Zakos. Go on the left. You could flash your laser there. You kill that building really fast. Here's the next section of laser wheels. We need to laser in a way that this wheel's not blocking it. We kill these tanks. This is actually my favorite section of this stage because the dodging is fun and not like too fast. You have enough room to maneuver here. We move to the left here to kill these tanks in this building. That gives us room as these are moving to the left that we can scoot our way to the right. Try to kill these tanks. We're trying to kill these top 2 buildings up here. You see these red buildings? Those shoot spreads. We're trying to kill those while hanging out on the left side. These are a real problem if we're anywhere other than the left side, but if we're on the left side and holding our normal laser, that shit dies immediately. We do have these Zakos flooding in, but if you just hold up, you dodge them immediately. So look at this. After we clear out all of these tanks and we're trying to kill these buildings and make our way to the left as best we can, we just sit here, move up, go back down, sit here. We're spawn killing everything, move up, we're good. Right after you do that twice, start holding to the right. We kill not only the Zakos here, but we're in a position. You see the way these 2 laser wheels are spinning. We need to move from the top right to the bottom left. We just do that while trying to make sure we make our way through here. You see there's a B here, which makes the cut to the left a bit easier, but it's very easy while using your shot to get the speed because the B scrolls off screen really fast. What you want to do is you want to tap auto and shot. You want to be holding auto while tapping shot. That way you're always getting laser. That way you won't ever get clipped by these laser wheels. And the cancel from getting this orange B is going to give you some leeway to move to the left. This next section is fucking crazy. Here's how you make it really easy. We're trying to make our way to right here. You need to get as high as here, and you need to hold laser. Your aura is big enough that all these enemies that'll pop in will instantly die to it. If you're any lower, these enemies will come in, they'll let off a shot before you've made it to this position, and then as you start streaming down, you'll ram into it as it comes from behind you. So what you do is you hold right here in the middle of this road. You hold laser so these initial helicopters get lasered immediately. Slowly tap. You need to really slowly tap. Pay attention to the speed of the bullets. If you're zooming past them too fast, you need to go slow. You'll know you're going at the right pace here because once you see these big enemies, you see these blue shots. If you have not made it to the bottom of the screen and these blue shots are going off, you're good. You're good. That's the pace you want. The reason is this building here is a bastard. It is really hard to normally survive this section while both taking care of these enemies flooding the screen, and this building spawns tons of enemies and spawns a bunch of spreads itself. You want to get really good at getting up here fast, holding your laser, and then streaming. It makes it so much easier. I spent like 2 hours on this section alone without doing the strat, trying to get it consistent. I found out all you gotta do is that, and you're fine. Let's start on the right here. We're waiting for the first Zako wave. Go to the left. Then we go to the right. Here's the last Zako wave. You want to scoot through that Zako wave from right to left so you don't get backstabbed by these lasers. This is the scariest laser wheel section, so we're going to use 2 hypers to make it easier, because you can use a hyper and then cancel a hyper later to give you some iframes. We're going to abuse that hard. So right here, we're going to use hyper. There's a sneaky little bee here. It's very easy to accidentally pick it up. Just be careful of that. You ideally want to pick it up when it's green. I think I picked it up while it's green there. We have these initial iframes. You look at our rank here. Something that could really fuck you in this section if this rank is really high. So in this section here, as we're coming up to this laser wheel section, you want to make sure you're using your shot. We're using our shot, we're using our laser until we need to use the hypers. So the rank is low, so we'll cancel these bullets even though our hyper rank is rapidly increasing. Once we reach to about here, it's fairly easy to run into shit, so we're canceling off our hyper, picking up the B. We're waiting till things get crazy again, and then we pop hyper again, use the iframes to get to the right side. We revealed this B naturally by doing that. We want to pick it up while it's green. Or flashing. I use the cancel here to make sure I don't ram into these. I'm using the iframes. And then you can either scoot up as they shoot you. As this section starts, they'll stop shooting. Now, once again, I got the wrong fucking boss, so here's my blind attempt on this boss. This boss turned out not bad at all. I just used 1 hyper, and we used 1 hyper on the Ura boss. See, I had to use 1 there, but it's not bad at all. Look at how little we cancel while using our shot. Our hyper rank is maxed, so don't trust it at all to cancel bullets. The main way I died while doing runs was getting complacent and getting really lazy and thinking that while I'm in hyper, I'll cancel the bullets fine, and then I die. Now, if you're on the Ura route, here's what this boss is supposed to look like. We get the DDP final boss. You want to start on the right arm. You see these pink shots? After 2 of those pink ones, you need to immediately stop point blanking, use your shot, get to the other arm, wait for 2, do the same thing, get to the other side. We started on the right arm because by being here, the other arm is off screen and all of its bullets are sealed. They aren't shooting. Now for this section here, we need to survive as long as possible. Just hold here, slowly stream, and once things get scary because of these lasers that spawn these red shots, immediately pop hyper and then pop out of it. You have enough iframes to get to the next section, and this one is just streaming. See, this one's really, really simple to get through, which is another reason why we want the Ura route instead. At the end here, we're just trying to kill these as best we can. Just survive as long as you can. You can either hold your red rank here by using shot and laser to clear these out just fine, or you could just hold shot and try doing some U streams so that way you lower your rank. But we're going to end up hypering either on that section or up here. I'm just lasting as long as possible and then hypering. This section is what we really want the hyper for, so you either carry the hyper from the last one into here and then kill this. As soon as this dies, this big tank dies, you want to kill these 2 turrets, rush this building up here. This building does not take damage until it's fully on screen. While it's not taking damage, we're still building meter off it. Look at our meter here. I could have even built a lot more than that. I could have built to the full hyper if I did it fast enough, but that's a good spot to build it. Now this section, you can do this without a hyper. It's way safer with the hyper. I did my best to try to survive it without. Basically, the issue here is these are constantly respawning, these spinning enemies, but we have a couple turrets on the right side, and Zako's flooding in that, depending on your rank, will create walls for you. I have survived this. I guess this is the run where we did survive it without a hyper. You do eventually want to use one anyway. You can survive to there without one, but just do your best and then hyper there. Now, coming up ahead, this section is different from the laser wheels. It's less intensive, but it's easier to get clipped by stuff. I got scared because you really, really need resources for the final boss when going for Hibachi. And usually I hyper this section. I got scared. I didn't think I'd have enough hypers for the last boss. So I tried to do this one without hypering, and it ended up working out. But you really want to hyper there. We want to hold on the left here. You can get a hyper recharge up here on these lasers by holding up there. And what you'd want to do is you'd want to cancel out of your hyper and then laser these up here. If you're still in hyper, the tanks will shoot you. And then you hold up there until these tanks on the right. You see, as we're holding on the left here, we're killing all of the tanks on the bottom. These tanks on the right are the ones that'll shoot you. You wait for those, you tap down. I get clipped there a lot, so we're just playing extra safe. We're not trying to build off these lasers. Keep holding to the left. These buildings will bite you in the ass if you leave those alive. You'll get stuck on the right side, and depending on your rank, will not be able to make your way over. Now we're getting up to the next big enemy that we saw once again on stage 4. This is a good spot to hyper. We're going to hyper there as late as possible and make our way to the left side of the screen. We're holding the left. The only problems we have are these tanks. We have tanks from the left side and tanks from this like right little garage section. You just want to make sure that you're clipping those with your shot, that you're like moving to the right and snagging those so you don't get tagged by those. Now we're going in with 2 bombs, so I got really scared. So I figured that this next section I needed to do without a hyper. Every time you do have a hyper to use here, you want to use it. Fucking everybody hypers this spot because this spot is really dangerous. I felt like I needed to do this without it, so we had to really lock it. I got lucky that we had a break to do a cut in between the Zako waves, but really you just want to be hypering that. If you did hyper, the section's really easy. You just kill everything. Here we're just waiting for this big rush of these enemies that chase right on top of you. You want to stream from one side to the other. There's usually going to be like 1 or 2 big Zako waves before, like one on the right side, the left side, and then these will come in. As long as you're on one side of the screen, you're fine to just slowly tap and get through them all. Here's the last 2 Bs, and we have a bomb. This is your last chance to get the bomb stock. We've routed this so we don't have to worry about it because we've used so many hypers. There's no fucking way you're getting to this boss with maximum hypers unless you've like died on the DOJ cannon right before. Make sure you pick these up while these are green. We need the resources. This boss is my least favorite part of the whole game. They're really scary. They're not too bad if you don't care about Hibachi. You just blow your resources. But our resources are so tight on this boss, and our hyper rank is completely maxed. Things get really terrifying, specifically in this first phase. This first phase is fucked up, man. The last pattern is really hard to dodge. There's recently a new high-scoring replay using B-Bomb, this very ship in this mode. That deals with the last section pretty good, and they still need to use a hyper at the end. Shit's fucked up, so here's what we do. We need the hyper immediately. If you hyper while the boss is coming in, it's okay. Time is frozen. You don't lose any hyper time. We're sitting up here to get as much point-blank damage as possible. You see these waves? We're counting these. We're waiting for the 5th one. As soon as the 5th one happens... 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. As soon as 5 happens, you need to cancel your hyper. You get some leeway with the cancel. Now, I got nervous and I popped the next hyper immediately. You can wait just a little bit after you've canceled your hyper and then pop it again. That way you get as much point-blank damage as possible. I was freaking out and scared, so I went down a bit early. This is a planned hyper. These first dodges are easy, but this one right here, you're pretty much walled in by. Like, there's ways you could get through it, but not consistently. Now, you usually want to hold your hyper here, and you'll kill the boss before you get to the really hard last section. You'll have to do some dodges and everything, like once your hyper runs out, but it's usually fine. You're at low rank because the hyper runs out. I felt like I had no resources. See, we had 2 hypers in stock. I felt like we needed to build more, so I needed to build some red rank. The second phase of this boss is an excellent spot to build back a shit ton of resources. That's what kind of made me confident to go for Hibachi runs, was the fact that you could recharge on the second phase. So what we did here is I canceled immediately so I could just start building red. I did have to do some dodges here. Like, ideally, you don't just stick in the middle here. You follow in between this big open area here. I wanted to sit in the middle as much as possible to build as much red. And that way we skip that last hard grenade section. Here's another look at that first phase on why we're kind of trying to speed kill it and not get to the next one. Here I'm just using 1 hyper instead of the 2. So we're going to lose a lot of damage, and you'll see why that becomes a problem. Here we're using shot as much as possible. Our hyper rank is so much that while we can kind of get rid of the pink bullets, the blue ones stay alive. But if you do it at this point, you don't have to like swerve through those and you're fine. The issue is here. You have to dodge this fucking shit. This shit's impossible, man. It's very hard to consistently get a route that won't wall you. Like, you'll even see in the world record route, they fucking hyper here, so don't sweat it. Now here, we've built enough red that we can start recharging. You see here, by hitting both this laser and the boss, we're building a shit ton of hypers. It's so important because we need to use hypers here and on the final phase. This section looks terrifying. Here's actually how you simplify it. The more slowly you take this and the more relaxed you take this, the better you could do. You don't need to sit up here and like point blank it, especially if you don't need the resources. You could hang out on the bottom after this first initial pattern happens. I wanted the meter, so we had to go all in. You see, let's focus on this pink bit first. These are a spread that's aimed on you. All you have to do is wait for the spreads to come out. Tap once and you dodge all of them. You see the grenades haven't come out yet, so we don't have to worry about those. Now that those are passed, we're looking at these grenades. You can ram into them and they'll kill you, but their hitbox is slightly small. So if you just tap to the side, you're naturally going to dodge them. These grenades are oriented based on you too. And they're going to shoot these horizontal shots. So right after you tap to dodge the spread, you look at these grenades and you're trying to sneak in middle of one of them. Then you do the same thing. As soon as you've snuck in the middle of the grenades, then you sit there. You sit still and you wait for these spreads to come out. Then you tap once, get in the middle of a grenade, sit still, tap once, get in the middle of a grenade. That's how you get through this section. Now, if you play aggressive, you have the bonus of you can point blank this boss with both your shot and laser. As it comes up and does this, you do want to be at the bottom of the screen for here. But getting that point blank damage will help skip the last hard bit. As soon as this part is undodgeable, so right here, we pop hyper, immediately switch to shot and move up. That way, our hyper invuln is enough that we sneak through these fireballs. If you want to be extra safe, you immediately cancel hyper and you get more iframes to get through the next part. But I've always found that I've been able to sneak through the top here. Don't be too high on top of the screen, you'll run into the boss. Now we just stream to the side. Here's the next this is the most RNG section of the whole game. These, if you... Usually, in this type of pattern, you would just hold your shot and get to the open safe parts. But because of these lasers, it's really easy to get clipped by if you're switching between shot and laser. So I just decide I'm just going to be holding shot laser the whole time. And if you ever get a fucked bit where you can't make it to the safe area in time, like here, you pop your hyper to get through that. You last as long as possible, and if you get another time where you get walled, you cancel the hyper, and that's like a second one, and you're rarely going to get walled like 3 times in a row. Because we did the point blank damage, we don't have to deal with the very last pattern. The last pattern, you just dodge it. It's just normal dodging. All right, here, if you want to guarantee Hibachi, you need 3 resources here. Here's why I was panicking so much and felt like I needed to build that red rank early so we could build the hypers. To safely deal with this, we need 3 resources. You can do it with 2. Safely, you need it with 3. This section's really hard if you have maxed out rank. I'm popping hyper, and our hyper is enough that, like, we kill the pink bullets. Those are pretty thin, but these blue bullets are really durable. So we're holding shot the whole way. We don't need the damage because we have 3 resources. Hold your shot and just don't die. You'll cancel a lot of the blue, but not all of the blue. Just act like you're about to be hit by them and dodge them as if you would normally. And then you're good. All right, here. So we have a real conundrum. This is why this boss I freak out about and why this boss gets complicated. Because we needed to use a hyper for that last section, look at our hyper rank. We don't have nearly enough time to build red. So in order to build red, we have to use a bomb. We're using our second bomb, our second Hibachi bomb that we have available for us for this part. But remember the 4th stage boss, how we needed if we let the bomb run out, our hyper rank will drop to nothing. We need to damage this boss as much as possible, but these fireballs are random. So you can do this without hyper and just try to survive until the boss is at a safe point where you feel like you can bomb and kill it before the bomb runs out. I find that I have a lot of trouble doing that, so here's what we do. We pop a hyper, try to deal as much damage as possible. Now this is important. You do not want to bomb and then go kill the boss. Reason being is if your hyper runs out, even though your bomb popped you to maximum red rank, whenever your hyper drops off, even with the bomb still active, you'll lose half of your rank. So you'll kill the boss and you'll just be back at half, and you're like, what the hell happened? Make sure your hyper here, you manually cancel it. With the iframes of the cancel, you're rushing the boss up as fast as possible and then popping a bomb. Now you can point blank the boss, dealing as much damage as you can and killing it before the red rank can drop off. And that's why you want 3 resources for that last part, which gets kind of scary. If you don't care and you have resources, just hyper and just dump your bombs. This is the last pattern of the game. If you're just going for the 1-all, dump all of your bombs on her ass. And then you got your 1 credit clear. Congratulations. All right, so here we are. Because we made it through the whole game without dying twice, without using more than 2 bombs, and we killed every single boss at the max red rank, we're going to fight Taisabachi and then Hibachi. Don't worry, you don't fight Zatsuza or whatever their name is unless you're playing on strong mode, the like expert mode. The most you could fight here is Hibachi. And Hibachi, don't tell anybody. This is one of the easiest Hibachis. I had a run where I had 2 deaths with full resources, full bombs, that I just threw away and accidentally rammed into Hibachi and made several mistakes like fucking up hypers, and it still killed Hibachi, so don't worry. All right, Taisabachi here. So the only thing we have to think about is how many bombs we came into this fight for. Because we came with 1 bomb, we're going to just try to live for just a tiny bit, and then once things get hairy, we're going to spend the bomb, and then we're going to point blank the boss. Look here, we're going to make our primary comfort spot for point blanking the boss right here. So we're hitting several of its parts at once. We're doing it as much point blank and building as much meter as possible. And then we dump bomb after bomb after bomb. So why are we doing this? Why are we dumping all of our resources when we could like try to survive for as long as possible? Or like keep as many bombs as possible for like Hibachi. The reason being is right here. Oh my god, did you see that? Look at this shit. Bum, bum, bum. So all of these turrets here, you see how the boss, Taisabachi's about to move up. As soon as it moves up, you want to plant a bomb on it and then sit in the middle there. You get point blank hyper gain for every single one of these little orb turret satellite things. You build like 4.5 at most bombs off it. It's fucking nuts. So we're just gonna bomb spam the ever-loving shit out of this boss because of that. Just for safety, I use a bomb here to kill any remaining turrets. Usually you kill more than this with your initial bomb, but you'll see how the circle goes off screen. Some of these will sneak in after, so I just used 1 more bomb just to get rid of those, just so we don't accidentally get clipped somewhere dumb. And because the boss is waiting for us to fight all those satellites, it's doing jack shit. And we have all that time to point blank. Now, as soon as the boss moves down, you need to move down immediately. Using like shot for a split second, and then you could go back to shot and laser. We're trying to survive as long as possible. There's a lot of slowdown, so it's not too bad. Bomb when you're scared, but if you want to use as few bombs as possible, wait till these laser wheels are getting to the bottom of the screen. You can move up using 1 bomb, and you're good. You could survive this with just 1 bomb. Because of these lingering bullets, sometimes I use 2. It gets kind of scary. And you need to make sure you don't ram into the boss. I'm actually really close to getting killed by it. And as soon as you see the like boss head changes and up at the top, you see it like engages, that's when you want to bomb, and we're just bomb spamming the rest of it. Except, see how it's about to die? If we're trying to fight Hibachi, we want to enter Hibachi at 0 red rank. And we can get to 0 red rank by letting our bomb run out, drop us to 0, and then we kill Hibachi. So that's what I try to do here. I try to let the bomb run out, but I did too much damage, so we're at red rank. The start of Hibachi does not work at all if you're at max red rank. So here's what you do. As soon as the music kicks in, it lets you bomb again. You need to bomb. This bomb won't affect your damage on Hibachi. Hibachi comes in with some invulnerability. This will drop your red rank to 0. If we're at 0 red rank, check this shit out. We don't have to dodge this pattern at all. There's a completely safe spot right here. Now, something you need to be careful with the Hibachi is that this hitbox of Hibachi is way bigger than it looks. It is very easy to run into it, and it moves erratically. So in order to make sure that you're actually touching it with your laser, don't think about your ship. Look at your ship's particle effect. You see these 2 wings coming off of our laser on the bottom of our ship? If that is touching into this like fire aura of Hibachi, we are doing damage to it. So make sure you're doing that. We're building, as we're up here, building lots of damage, building some hyper gauge. As soon as you see these bullets disappear, you need to start using your shot and laser for the maximum damage. We're doing as much point blank damage as possible. As these turrets come in, you use a bomb. I just manually time it. Like, I got a good feeling for when these are about to come out. I don't know if there's a tell, but I just sit there as long as possible and then use a bomb. And now we're back at 0 rank, and we're back here. We're completely fine. And because of these turrets too, we're also building even more hyper gauge. Be careful because the boss is kind of higher and like is really close to ramming you even more than before, especially with these blue bullets that restrict some space. But you're completely fine. Just make sure you don't get hit and you're good. We're waiting for these bullets to leave. As soon as they leave, you need to point blank the boss immediately. Use your shot and laser. It's fine. Don't worry about the rank. Point blank as much as possible. And then once these blue bullets come out, these are aimed on you. You can just tap to the side and you'll dodge them for free. The complication is we got these purple lasers. I don't know if you can manipulate them, but depending on which side they come down, you do a different movement. If they start coming on the same side that you are, like this, your laser colliding into these is creating pink bullets. So it's going to wall us. So as soon as you see that the lasers are on the same side as you, you need to make a cut. Luckily, if you see here, there's a bunch of diagonal lanes you can take through these blue bullets. It's kind of scary, but it's not the worst thing. It's actually pretty safe to do so. And based on how you're moving and how your laser is interacting with these purple ones, there's always a gap like this. There's always a way out of the pattern. And if you make your way through here, you can always sneak by before the lasers of the same side can meet you. And then you can start streaming, get as much damage on the boss before you eventually get walled. You can use a hyper here, get a shit ton of damage, and use the cancel to help you out. However, we are currently at hyper rank 0, and we want to stay hyper rank 0. I prefer not to hyper the boss until the final phase to make the final phase so much easier. I just prefer to do this movement, and we can do enough damage just fine. Once you're at this point, and by the way, if you don't want to do these cuts or anything, you can, just as soon as you make it to this side, bomb, go to the other side, stream for a bit, bomb, and you spend 2 bombs, but you get through it 100% safely. The issue is you have to dodge an additional phase, which drops you for like 4 resources. But here, as soon as we're walled in, after we've like done our 2 movements, we now need to hug the bottom right. Don't do anything. Just hold bottom and right. You can't sit here doing nothing. You need to be holding to the side. Your hitbox is smaller if you're moving side to side. And it's just enough that we're completely good here. I don't know if the safe spot works on the other side, but it 100% of the time works on the bottom right. Just hold there and you're fine. Wait till these lasers are done. And now we need to point blank Hibachi as much as possible. There's bullets about to come from the bottom of the screen. How do you know where they're coming from so they don't like immediately ram into you? Here's what you do. You're trying to get kind of an angle like this, where you barely are touching the tip of Hibachi's wing. That way, these bullets won't ever spawn on top of you, and you can still even like adjust afterwards and hug this wall here. You can get point blank damage in while Hibachi is rising. If you don't have enough damage, you have to dodge this extra phase. You just have to last as long as possible, then bomb over and over until the phase ends. Then the fight will repeat and you can get back in the safe spot. Now, if everything's going good, we've done enough damage that we actually skipped that pain as fuck stage. And now we're on to the final stage. Here's what we want to do. We want to shot laser it as much as possible. When it's transitioning here, we're not doing any damage. But as soon as it pops in here, we're doing some point blank. You're waiting for this big flash. You see we get 2 flashes. One of the boss starting the lasers, that's fine. And then this big flash here. Once you see the whole screen flash, that's your cue to stop point blanking. Start holding down. That way you don't get rammed immediately by these blue bullets. We're trying to survive as long as possible. Our rank is maxed. There's no fucking way you survive this. You can either, from this point, use a bomb. It plummets your rank to 0, and then you can hyper the next phase where your rank is 0. Or you could do what I did here and just say fuck it and hyper. I move up on the screen so that our shots we'll start hitting these laser bullets and start not having to get through these ones below us, using the hyper invuln to move up. And now, because we kept our hyper rank 0 for this whole fight, we can cancel these bullets. We're in a juggle. You see, now that the boss is in this phase, every time you use a bomb and every time you use a hyper, it gets a shield for a set period of time after you pop each, where you cannot damage the boss. So while we're at that point where we can't damage it, we're using our shot mostly to clear these out while tapping our laser, because these lasers on the sides here, you see, we have to get rid of those. So you're occasionally tapping laser to make sure those don't happen. Every time in this fight you shoot one of these lasers, these blue bullets will spawn from where the lasers would have. And here's what we do once we hyper. We use our shot a bit, and you see the boss invuln's going down. Now, because our hyper rank 0, we're at a point where we can hold laser and hyper for the whole time, especially if you bombed before so that your rank isn't really high. Because my rank was high, I had to switch to shot sometimes in order to just guarantee that these bullets would get canceled. But you want to hold for your initial hyper while your rank is 0. Your hyper for as long as possible. Hold it for as long as possible. You're getting so much laser damage in on this initial hyper. I accidentally bombed here. You don't need to bomb there. Now, at this point, our hyper rank is at 1. So it's harder to cancel the bullets, but not impossible. So here's what we do. We're going to wait, flashing our laser so we don't get hit by their lasers. We're going to hyper again. We have to lean more towards using our shot while sneaking in laser as much as we can. You might have to dodge some of these while the hyper rank is still 1, but you're canceling most of them. Try to get as much laser damage on the boss as possible. And then once you're scared, cancel out. Now we've reached this point. Our hyper rank is 2. We can barely get any cancels on the boss. And we're at a point here where we don't have any resources left, so here's all we do. All we do is you just try to live for as long as possible. That's the longest I've ever lived there before. Now we have some weird spots here. There is a strategy using suicides to try to get several hyper rank 1 or hyper rank 0 hypers in a row, where like you want to give a shit about your resources here. You would just bomb them all out, suicide a bit to drop your rank, and then use one fat hyper again. I don't like that strategy, because if you do get clipped somewhere on your big hyper, you've gone all in on that. So what I prefer here is, here's what we're gonna do. You can pop hyper here. I was at a rank where we could have just gone with it, but if your rank's really high, you pop hyper and then you're mashing hyper. Look at me, you see this hyper button down here? I'm mashing that shit. You have enough invuln that you can keep mashing it and you'll instantly cancel out of it and then pop the next hyper. This way we reestablish this as a situation, and we need to dodge. Our rank is too high, we can no longer cancel bullets. Look at this. So here's what we do with the rest of our resources up until we run out. We pop hyper, last as long as possible. We're not lasering until the lasers reach us, just so we get fewer blue bullets. Last as long as possible. Once you're scared, you immediately drop hyper and then pop it again. So I'm scared, pop hyper. You need to immediately, as soon as you drop hyper, you need to pop hyper again. If you wait, the bullets will start spawning from the boss, and the boss will still be waiting for the hyper invuln because you popped it late. You will get 0 damage on the boss. Immediately as you cancel, you need to tap and then tap again to pop the next hyper so you get some more damage. You get slowly get more damage on the boss over and over as you keep hypering. And as you do this, you're going to have enough to where if you started this fight with you can do this with only 1 extra life in stock. But if you have any more than that, you can consistently, with this strategy, kill the boss with doing as minimal dodging as possible. If you do need damage, you can try to survive in between hypers as long as possible. But just to be safe, just dodge like 1 or 2 and then get out of your hyper and you're good. And like we cleared this with 2 extra hypers and 3 total lives remaining. So like you have extra to spare. And in fact, like Like I mentioned before, I cleared this boss with only like 1 extra in stock when I accidentally suicided with 2 full resources. So if you get good at that last section and get comfy with like kind of how the hypers work, you can do it with very minimal lives, but you really, really do want things to go smoothly. Because we had so much extra damage at the end there. Even if we didn't like dodge as much in between hypers, we easily could have just out-resourced Hibachi. Congratulations! We made it through. This was my first TLB. Maybe it could be your first Hibachi kill. This is one of the easier Hibachis just because of all the safe spotting, because of how we can abuse the bomb-style hypers. But you still have to meet the requirements to get there, and the requirements are pretty mean. Like, getting through the stage 1-5 boss without dying twice or without, like, running out of hypers and end up dying twice is not the easiest thing in the world. So while Hibachi's pretty free, getting there is not free. So hopefully if you are trying to aim for a Hibachi clear, that could have helped out. If you're just going for the 1cc, feel free to like do as best you can to like follow this type of a route. And then just keep dumping hypers in the spots that you're not comfortable with. Especially things like the laser wheels. Like, you don't need to follow this perfectly. If you have extra lives and stuff in stock, that's a ton of extra resources, especially if you built the extra bomb stock.